Straight jeans and fitted in a white t-shirt, we did it.
Vybz Kartel. The enigma, the entertainer, the businessman, and until 2 months ago, a convicted criminal who served 13 years in prison for the murder of a lizard. No, not that kind of lizard. By lizard I mean Clive Lizard Williams. Kartel was subsequently acquitted in August this year and set free from prison. Vybz. Kartel, whose real name is Adidja Palmer, has managed to captivate a loyal fan base. A fan base who worship the ground he walks on and has formed a protective ring of fire around the self-proclaimed world boss. It's almost as if he is Jamaica's golden child, a spot once reserved for tourism. Some of these fans, or as some would call them, groupies, would seemingly sacrifice their last son to kiss the ring of their dancehall king. But I am less interested in Kartel himself, and rather more interested in the people who worship him, almost like he is the Messiah, the second coming of the King. I'm telling you, Jesus is not very happy at the moment. I think, if possible, these fans would rename him Lord Kartel if that was at all somehow possible. Kartel's music is a potent blend of social commentary and catchy melodies. His lyrics are laced with raunchy innuendos about sex and badman life. Millions down a yard and abroad follow his social media posts to see what he gets up to in his daily life. Kartel has recently drawn harsh criticism from some of his worshippers who lament that he is becoming soft and that he is wrong for getting engaged to a Turkish woman named Sidem. They say that he should have dated a black Jamaican woman instead. His fan base, known as the Gaza fans, or as Sir P puts it, Sheep Nation. They are a movement that transcends borders, class, race and socio-economic status. His star power is undeniable, and to his fans, he was sent by God himself. The question I want to ask is this: are these just fans, or is it more like a cult? Why are people so devoted to an entertainer, despite his alleged criminality by the police and revelations of gang involvement by popular YouTuber, Serp? The most criticism I've seen against Kartel is as a result of his recent utterances about women dressing like whores, after they said Sidem should dress more sexy and sluttish.
Yeah, everybody wants dress like whore, like Una.
Despite their minor criticism, his loyal Gaza Nation appear willing to sell a liver or a kidney to say that they were present at his first concert, since being released from prison. A concert that will undoubtedly rival that of fellow artiste Buju Banton, who himself was also convicted of crimes and deported to Jamaica a few years ago, greeted to a welcome akin to that of Haile Selassie when he visited the Rastas. Whilst I don't understand the fan craze for any celebrity, one cannot deny the reach of the Gaza Nation. This fan craze, or Sheep Nation, as Sir P would put it, isn't reserved for the Irimon. No, it has flown out of Jamaica on a jet blue plane to Florida, Winnipeg, and other places across the globe. This phenomenon really has to be studied. Kartel's music and reach transcends geographical boundaries, his influence echoing from the streets of Kingston to the clubs of New York, London, Johannesburg and Toronto, Canada. But what is it about Vybz Kartel that inspires such unwavering devotion? What makes him such an unstoppable force? Is it his music, his lifestyle, his wealth, or his badman persona? To understand the fervor surrounding Vybz Kartel, we need to delve into the origins of the Gaza Nation. We must study why his influence resonates with people, ranging from the man who sweeps the streets to politicians in high society and white-collar workers in corporate Jamaica. Kartel's journey began in the early 2000s, when he burst onto the Jamaican dancehall scene with a style that was both revolutionary and relatable to many in the inner city. His song with Spice, called Romping Shop, was most notable. It was a huge hit. His lyrics were raw and unapologetic, speaking directly to women about sexual exploits and to the men about guns and badmanism. Songs like Clark's and Romping Shop became anthems in the clubs and dancehall, not just for their catchy rhythms, but for the stories they told. Even the Jamaican Prime Minister, Andrew Brogad Holness, became a fan and ran his political campaign wearing a pair of Clark's. But it wasn't just the music that captivated his fans. People obsessed over his clothes, his jewellery, his cars, and which local or foreign women were lucky enough to be riding his cock, like it was a carousel at a fairground amusement park. Kartel had a knack for self-promotion, using social media to maintain a constant presence in the lives of his fans, even whilst in prison. He was one of the first dancehall artists to fully embrace platforms like Instagram and YouTube, giving his followers a glimpse into his world, flaunting his money and pop star lifestyle. This accessibility made him more than just a musician. He became a cultural icon, and that made some people felt they knew him personally. It wasn't just about the music anymore, it was about identity, belonging and loyalty. Ask people like Sean Storm, his fellow co-accused. I'm telling you, Judas has nothing on this guy. Kartel's fans saw themselves in his lyrics and his life. He represented what they wished and hoped to one day become: popular, rich and have enough girls. They essentially lived vicariously through him. They related to his struggles, celebrated his successes and defended him against his detractors. Detractors like Sir P, who they claim bad-mind the artiste and only make up things to get views. Claims which are of course not factual and have no place in reality, but these are some of the bullets that they fire at the, quote, little YouTuber. This sense of community was further solidified through events, merchandise and even language like I'm Out. He had a cake soap, which he marketed as a skin-bleaching soap. He had a rum called Street Vybz Rum, and also marketed his line of condoms to the 20% of men actually getting some vagina. Phrases coined by Kartel and his crew became part of the everyday lexicon. His hand gesture has also caught on with his fans. Whenever they take a picture with him, they flash the Gaza hand sign as a show of loyalty to his camp, even though a lot of these groupies would be unable to even point to the real Gaza on a map. Critics argue that Kartel's influence has a dark side. They say he is promoting violence and degeneracy amongst his followers and the wider society because unthinking and unsophisticated people would copy and emulate his behavior and lyrics. Life imitating art rather than art imitating life, yet his fans remain undeterred, viewing these criticisms as attacks on their own identity and their God's ability to produce his music. They would vehemently defend their daddy, Vybz Kartel. Yes, Addy a dem daddy, who want to vex can vex. To them, Kartel is more than a man. He's a movement, a symbol of resilience and rebellion against the system. Kartel made them believe that one day they too will make it out of the ghetto and onto a political stage with Mark Golding. As we explore the phenomenon of Vybz Kartel and the Gaza Nation, it's clear that this is more than just fandom. One could argue, and rightly so, that it bears the hallmarks of a goddamn cult. It's a deep-seated loyalty that borders on being a religious cult, a testament to the power of music, propaganda, public relations, and the human need for connection. It's as if he was a student of Joseph Goebbels or Edward Bernays. Google them if you don't know who they are. While Vybz Kartel's rise to stardom was meteoric, the very elements that made him a cultural icon also made him a lightning rod for controversy. Kartel's lyrics often laced with themes of violence, sex, daggering and innuendos. He drew criticism from various quarters, including government officials and social activists from the rainbow community, who saw him as a corrupting influence on Jamaican youth. Kartel's criminal trial was a media spectacle, with every development scrutinized and debated by both his ardent supporters like Busta Rhymes, Nicki Minaj, to detractors from the University of the West Indies, who see his lyrics as dangerous. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence, including text messages, video footage and forensic reports, painting a grim picture of Kartel's alleged criminal activities. Kartel's defense team argued that the evidence was tampered with, and that he was being targeted because of his vast influence and his criticisms of politicians. The courtroom became a battleground, not just for legal arguments, but for the very soul of the Gaza Nation. For many of his fans, the trial was seen as an attack on their identity and their right to self-expression. The verdict sent shockwaves through the dancehall community and beyond. People shed tears and chanted, "Free Vybz Kartel" and "Free World Boss." Yet even from behind bars, Kartel's influence remained undiminished. This is testament to his loyal fan base, who share his music, and the selectors like Matterhorn, who keep it on rotation in the parties. He continued to release music, and his songs often topped the charts, dominating airwaves, leading some hungry belly DJs into other industries like farming and social media commentary. His fans rallied around him, seeing his imprisonment as further proof that the government hates to see ghetto youths rise. But is this actually true? Is the government actually preventing people from the inner cities' communities from elevating themselves? The controversies surrounding Kartel and his legal battles have only added to his mystique. To his critics, he is a cautionary tale of talent gone astray, a criminal mastermind, a master manipulator, and a shepherd leading his sheep to the slaughter, using the medium degenerate pop culture. To his supporters, he is a martyr, a symbol of resistance against a corrupt political classes, and someone who can be an example of the lifestyle that they themselves desire and wish to emulate. The duality of his legacy is a testament to the complex nature of his persona and the powerful impact he has had on Jamaican culture. Can one blame him for exploiting a market of music lovers and consumers of celebrity culture? Despite the controversies and legal battles that have surrounded Vybz Kartel, his influence on the dancehall genre and Jamaican culture remains undeniable. Even from behind bars, Kartel's voice continued to resonate through his music, inspiring a new generation of artists like Alkaline, all whilst growing his base with even more young followers. His ability to adapt and innovate has kept him relevant in an ever-evolving musical landscape. Kartel's legacy is not just confined to his music, but his epic defeat of the Jamaican justice system will go down as one of the most infamous in Jamaica's history. Since the trial of Paul Bogle, his entrepreneurial spirit is evident in ventures like his line of rum and his signature line of skin-lightening products, aka Cake Soap and Street Vibes Rum, were a huge hit amongst his fans, both of which have sparked conversations and debates about identity and self-hatred towards his own dark skin. Just before his stint in prison, he closely resembled Michael Jackson in complexion. To his fans, he embodies the struggle against systemic oppression and the fight for one's voice to be heard no matter the circumstances. I doubt this is genuinely the case, but let's toy with the idea for now. As everyone focuses on Vybz Kartel, I think more focus should be placed to his fans who make him who he is. The ones who put the battery in his pack. The ones who he calls his sheep, to which he is the shepherd.
The masses are foolish, as Vybz Kartel himself described them.
So why did Cake Soap? Yes, Cake Soap just for the fun night.
Yeah, because I know people are going to buy it into it. Remember, you know, people are like sheep, and I am the shepherd, you know. They're easy for the middle. Remember, you know, people are like sheep, and I am the shepherd. They're easy for the middle. Remember, you know, people are like sheep, and I am the shepherd. They're easy for the middle. And they're easy for me. It's so easy, it's like, it's hilarious. Because it's a cake. So everybody talking about, oh, Cake Soap, it's Cake Soap, right? Every day for whatever, Vybz Kartel Cake Soap.
Yeah.
Every day for all of the video program.
What
Vybz
do you think
Kartel
about
Cake Soap.
Cake Soap?
So when we just do know, what we see the Cake Soap, it's a more fame, more money for Vybz Kartel. And it's like, them not see what I want, because me telling you what me I do now, and then really, them still have a big with them is the next day. When we do something, them are going to buy it too, and the concept are going to go over and over and over again, because that is what people have.
The ones willing to buy his music and spend up to $10,000 to see him at his concerts, even if that means their children go hungry and they have to live with one lung and one kidney. It's clear that his story is far from over. We all wait to see what happens at his concert on December 31st. I'm sure it will be the talk of the town. He will walk away with more riches and fame, whilst his fans from the ghetto go home with hungry bellies and mud on their shoes. Whether seen as a hero or a villain, Vybz Kartel's impact on the culture is indelible. What my brother-in-arms, Sir P, must realise is that there is no business like show business, and for celebrities, almost all publicity is good publicity. We should be careful not to pay too much attention to the things we don't like, for doing so risks making it even bigger than it might have been. Remember that Marcus Garvey couldn't save the Jamaican Negro, even though times were harder back then. He got fed up and left for England. Bless up yourself.